This week I wanted to discuss the topic of the willingness to perceive difficult things. It's a bit of a mouthful, that term, but this idea that we choose to perceive difficult things, or more accurately, we choose not to escape those difficult things. I think this is a capacity, a skill that's definitely crucial for the internal arts and can really mean the difference between running into certain problems or not. Let me elaborate and explain what I mean in a bit more depth. In the modern psyche, in most people that I run into, the mind is charged with this idea that if we just get all our ducks in a row, if we just eat right and meditate well and have the right technique and so on and so forth, that we'll arrive at this magical point where you don't have any problems anymore, you don't have any difficulties, you don't have to deal with life anymore. This is a bit of an odd notion, this idea that if life is difficult, if life is a struggle, then you're doing something wrong and you should constantly search for how to do the thing right so you don't have to deal with life struggles. This is not at all what I'm interested in cultivating, and you might even say it's the polar opposite of what I'm cultivating. What I'm interested in sharing and teaching and exploring myself is the idea of engaging with life on life's terms, not on my terms, which means that I need to learn how to navigate difficult times, whether they be pain in the physical body, emotional, mental tensions, things like this, without going to war with them, without trying to escape them or run away from them. In fact, it suggests that, or I might suggest that difficult times, however skilled we are always going to come. We can't certainly prevent ourselves from being in accidents that aren't our fault. I'm sure you've seen videos of people driving in cars perfectly responsibly and some other person comes out of nowhere and cleans them up. And this happens quite regularly. So it's not a guarantee that we're going to have our health, that we're going to have our feel-goodness all the time. So I'm not particularly interested in practices that are for the purpose of feeling good, right? These practices are arranged in such a way that I feel garbage, I go do the thing, and hopefully I feel better afterwards. There's a lot of value in this, and this can happen with the internal cultivation practices that I teach, but it's not the point. The point is to actually learn to navigate whatever shows up. So if what's showing up for you at that point in time is something difficult, a difficult emotion, an injury, a pain, whatever, then I'm trying to teach people how to navigate those moments too. The good moments, on the other hand, we navigate them by not being so clingy to them, not holding on to them so tightly, but we definitely want to learn how to navigate the bad moments so we don't have to always strategize to get away from them or strategize to resolve them. We can just let them be. Even better if we can choose to go towards them, if we can choose willingly to bring our attention to these difficult parts of ourselves, then we may find something interesting happens. The relationship with the difficulty changes, and therefore the evolution of the difficulty changes. Let me give you an example. If I'm afraid of heights and I make a choice to get better with my fear of heights, improve my relationship with heights, then I can either strategize to get away from heights and never have to see a height again. And if there's a height there, I just work out how to get away from it. This is the kind of escaping idea that I'm not interested in teaching. Or I can choose to go towards it. I can choose to confront my fear of heights. I can choose to face it and develop my relationship with it, develop my capacity to navigate those moments. If I choose to go up to a small edge and I wait there where there's an edge and I'm feeling all those kind of vertigo feelings and fear and whatnot, and then I just see what that's like and let it pass through me and, in some way prove to my unconscious that I didn't die by standing near an edge, then I walk away and my relationship with fear and with heights has changed a little bit. It's evolved a little bit. if I keep taking that pattern, slowly moving to higher and higher heights until I get very used to navigating really high things, then I can get to a point where I can be on a ledge and I can maybe not be fine, right? This isn't the point, but I can manage it, I can navigate it okay, I can actually get by. Again, this doesn't mean that the fear isn't there. It doesn't mean that the fear has disappeared. It just means that I know how to navigate the fear. I know how to not be frozen by it or do silly things in response to it. I can just accept that it's there and then carry on with appropriate action. On the flip side, if I get someone who forces me to go to an edge and says, get better with your heights, and I'm not willing to do it, if there's an internal unwillingness to approach this difficult situation, it will generally get worse. It will generally be like a thing that makes my fear of heights even worse. And say I get some, well-meaning Samaritan forcing me to confront my heights every day, it's generally just going to make me resist more and more and more. Maybe I'll cave at one point, but it's not a particularly healthy approach to that difficulty. Likewise with internal training, often we do, I teach people to open and release through the system, and the first thing that they run into is all the junked up parts of their body, and this is really normal. But most people's reaction to this is, oh, what can I do about it? How can I get rid of this stuff? Which is normal and almost necessary in the beginning. But as you refine your attitude, as you refine this willingness to perceive difficult things, slowly but surely you can approach these difficulties without trying to resolve them, without even trying to manage or control them, which is maybe an even more refined level, where you just pay attention to them and choose to continue paying attention to them while they're being bothersome, while they're being difficult, while they're being kind of a hardship. And the nice thing about the internal arts and the internal cultivation is we do this physically first. So we actually get little moments of practicing doing this with the little tension, a tension in my shoulder, a tension in my arm, whatever that shows up from practice. These little, almost like, not life-threatening difficulties. And we can practice and cultivate our capacity to stay with them and choose to stay with them rather than trying to manage them and getting away from them. And we can do it with these little niggly points first to get the hang of what it's like, and slowly but surely we can progress to larger and larger difficulties where we choose to face our deepest fears and face our existential crisis and all of these kind of things, face our deep insecurities, which are always fun. And this then in turn gives us a capacity to go deeper and deeper into the system. If, on the other hand, I start my practice with this idea of getting away from these things, I may be able to go deep, but at some point I'm going to run into something that I can't manage and I can't escape and I can't strategize away from, and then I'll just be stuck forever trying to escape from something that I can't escape from. And this again sets us up to be in a really, really bad place. So this willingness to perceive difficult things, I think, is almost the cornerstone of a good internal art, if you might classify things, or at least the arts that I'm interested in, let's put it that way. And it's a capacity that has so much use in day-to-day life, if I really can't bear confrontation with difficulties, if I really have to strategize whenever something shows up that really makes me uncomfortable or is otherwise difficult, then I'm basically bound to that thing or bound by that thing. It's forcing me to respond in a particular way because I have to do something about it. And so you can think of people who have like a lot of triggers, for example, instead of confronting the trigger itself and seeing how uncomfortable it is and choosing to go towards it and resolving it, trying to strategize about how to get away from a trigger and then live in a world where no one ever says a nasty thing to me and no one's ever human, really. Everyone's this kind of weird, perfect angel that operates just the way I wish they would. Then I don't have to be triggered and, I don't have to deal with my discomfort. It's not a strategy that's going to work out well, I don't think. So Instead, I really propose to practice approaching difficult things and do it with small things to begin with, small aches and pains, and just, next time you stub your toe, just see if you can put your attention directly on that thing and don't try and make the pain go away. Just try and perceive the pain and release all your expectations on how it should go away or resolve or not be in your life, and just see if you can perceive it. And you can take little thought drills with this. Have a notion of, what if this sensation stays for a really long time, for example? You've got plenty of people who live for years and years in chronic pain. Not fun, and not a thing I'd encourage you to get in just to test this, but it's an interesting thing to consider in our mind, that could I still live a very full life with this pain present? And often people can. And often when people stop resisting the pain and the difficulty, it actually becomes a whole lot easier to navigate. So yeah, it's a basic concept. I hope I got it across with some eloquence. Maybe not, but I'll leave this as it is for now. Please leave a comment if you find the topic interesting or have your own thing to share about the topic. And otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more or support my work, head on over to my website, craigmallet.com. You're also welcome to join my community, which can be found at community.craigmallet.com or via the menu on my main website. I generally have a number of services available. If you'd like some help, just reach out. I have a student program, I have online courses, I have workshops and private consultations, all available to any who would want it. As always, to appease the algorithm gods, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and/or share.